Hi, Tempe. How are you? And the world, if you're watching. You're probably not. That's cool. Anyway, let me introduce myself to you if you don't know who I am. My name is Molly. Excuse me. I'm on disability, so I'm home all the time thinking on things. I want to share a personal story about myself with you regarding Big Pharma. Those of you who trust the government and Big Pharma, I'd like to share a story with you. Way back in the 80s, a little thing came along called the gay-related disease. Really, it was HIV, AIDS, and it was so unknown that nobody knew what to call it, so they made up an asshole name for it. It was wrong. So this blood-borne disease was hitting the world hard, especially in America, in Africa as well. At the time, I fell in love with a hemophiliac who, for the better half of his life, had to inject whole blood products to not die of hemorrhage. He is, not was, is a severe hemophiliac, factor 8. There are many factors that are missing in people with hemophilia. Most times they're not combined. Sometimes you'll find a hemophiliac that has a few factors missing. My husband's factor, what was missing from him to be able to clot was factor 8. I don't know if that's the... It's been so long and my brain's not working so well right now that I might not be saying that correctly. So forgive me, X. My brain just doesn't work very well anymore. Anyway, he and I married, had a child. I'm not positive, nor is my child. Just to throw that out there. Hemophilia clients were given whole blood products for a really long time. And then they started getting something called factor 8, factor 17, factor 19, factor 9. Actually, some of those hemophiliacs actually couldn't take factor, like factor 9. That's rarer. So those people, I don't know now, but back then, those people were still having people donate blood to make factor for them, so they did not bleed to death. I'm sharing this story because I want to talk to you about Big Pharma. Big Pharma, well, let me start a little bit further back. As my husband and I were living through this AIDS epidemic, I was then studying a lot to find out what the fuck. And there's this program within the hemophilia community called HANDY, HANDY. I can't remember what it stands for, Hemophilia Association, something I'm sure. That collects information about bloodborne diseases. Hemophiliacs actually had been dying much earlier of AIDS. They just didn't know what to call that. So before the 80s, in the 70s and 60s, people were actually dying of AIDS, the hemophiliacs. But it wasn't that common at the time until the 80s came around. The blood pool had been contaminated by people that were either sleeping all over the place, or gay men, females, or drug addicts trying to get money so they could continue on in their life doing what they were doing. No faulting any of those people, by the way. They didn't know. They didn't know. So they came along with a product called Factor, a synthetic factor, a synthetic blood clotting thing. Forgive me again, my brain is not working well right now. I sound ignorant. I'm not. My brain's not working well right now. So in the 80s, hemophiliacs were also dying. And then we realized that it was in the blood, that it was a bloodborne disease. And the pharmaceutical companies kept telling people through the 90s, this is a safe product, this is a safe product, this is a safe product. And maybe it was, but 10,000 hemophiliacs were infected with HIV because of dirty blood. And in that, they all died. Families, whole families died of AIDS. There was one family in the South, 16 people in their family because of hemophilia died of AIDS. All the brothers, their wives, and some of their children. The parents were left with no family. The pharmaceuticals didn't want to pull the dirty product because they were making billions of dollars off of it. They knew it was tainted, and they didn't care. They wanted to continue making money. And 10,000 men died because of that. We ended up suing them actually and won. But it took years and years and years and years and years and years and years. When we finally got them to pull that dirty product off the market, they turned around and gave it to Cuba and killed all of their hemophiliacs. They didn't give it, they sold it to Cuba. When Cuba realized this, each hemophiliac in Cuba that died actually was awarded millions of dollars for them and family members that were going to lose them. In America, we won $250,000 for our dead or dying hemophiliac. But because they absolutely wronged Cuba, they got millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. The pharmaceuticals will lie to you, pharmaceutical companies will lie to us every day of the week until we step up and make a noise. There was something called the 10,000 March because 10,000 of our men died, were infected. My husband is still alive, my ex. He's lived this whole entire time with AIDS. Now here's the kicker about AIDS. Hemophiliacs from my ex-husband's generation had been infected with hepatitis C. Hepatitis C is a little hardy thing. It's hard to get rid of. We have got things now in place that can get rid of it sometimes. Interferon, which he has also gone through twice, which also almost killed him. We weren't allowed to go to church because they were afraid. They were burning kids out of homes because they were hemophiliacs. The suffering that the hemophiliac community in America caused by the pharmaceuticals because they didn't want to give up the money that they were making. And I won't mention their names, but you can look them up. I'm not sure I'm allowed to mention what pharmaceuticals were involved in that, because we did sue them and we did win. And honestly, I'm not quite sure if there was well, we had to sign something that me, after I lose my husband, wouldn't go after the pharmaceuticals again. We also had to sign something that our children wouldn't go after the pharmaceuticals again. In Cuba, all the people that lost family members, they also got money as well. The children that lost parents, they also got money as well. Us in America, we weren't worth that. We got $250,000 per hemophiliac, period. Period. They will continue to sell product, tainted product, and people will die. Kind of like the vaccine issues we're having right now. Don't trust pharmaceuticals companies. The pharmaceutical companies in America killed off 10,000 hemophiliacs. The funny thing is let's say they were trying to get rid of a burden to the health system. Let's just think about that just for a minute. They didn't care because they wanted to get rid of, the country wanted to get rid of a burden on the system. Let's just create a conspiracy for a second. It wouldn't matter because my daughter's a carrier of hemophilia. Hemophilia is something that affects the men in the families. The women are the carriers. When she had her son, she had a 50-50 chance of passing on hemophilia to my grandson. He does not have hemophilia. So it wouldn't matter. Like, let's just say in a conspiracy world, if the world was trying to kill off hemophiliacs, because it literally cost way back then, cost $150,000 per injection. And a lot of people were told to proactively infuse so they didn't bleed as much often. Like, they were trying to see if they could proactively keep hemophilia in check. And in that, more people got infected and more people died. Then they came along with another product. Let me go back to hepatitis. So hepatitis, if the pharmaceutical, and they knew that the blood was tainted with hepatitis C. They didn't care. All hemophiliacs of my ex-husband's generation had hepatitis C. If the pharmaceuticals had cleaned the blood for hepatitis C to kill the blood, the hepatitis C in the blood, if the pharmaceuticals had taken care of that, 10,000 hemophiliacs would not have died of HIV/AIDS. That wouldn't have happened. But they didn't want to do that. Now, today, we have virgin hemophiliacs. And what that means is they were given a clean source of factor. They were young. Before that, though, if these younger ones, so okay, let me take this back. Let me start this part over again. Again, my brain is not working well. Please forgive the confusion in my head. This is also a hard topic for me because my daughter's father is still dying of AIDS very slowly. Very slowly. He looks like a skeleton. The Walking Dead. Hepatitis C, if it had been cleaned out of the blood products, it would have then also taken care of the HIV and AIDS in the blood products that the hemophiliacs were using. And the pharmaceuticals knew that as well. So not only were they wanting them to purchase factor, continually infuse themselves over and over, infecting themselves with AIDS, they also wanted them to buy products for hepatitis C. They didn't care. The amount of money the pharmaceuticals make off just the hemophiliacs alone is a colossal, disgusting amount of money. And they still do that today. So children that were born during the time of the 90s, late 80s, 90s, that weren't infected, they call them virgins. They're children, so they weren't fucking people. They weren't using needles for drugs. They got the clean factor, but not the hemophiliacs that were already infected. They also were able to sue the pharmaceuticals because they were virgins, meaning they hadn't been exposed by life. They only got AIDS through the needle of infusing factor. You couldn't put it off on being gay. You couldn't put it off on being an addict. You couldn't put it off on the hooker walking down the street. And that's why our family only got $250,000, because my husband wasn't a virgin. He could have been fucking anybody. He could have been using IV needles anywhere. He could have been, gay and I didn't know. That's the way they justified only giving my husband $250,000. The virgins got tens of millions of dollars. Tens of millions of dollars. I'm here to say to you, don't trust the pharmaceuticals. I won't speak to you about my daughter with hemophilia, with autism, and whether vaccines have anything to do with that. But it could. And trust me when I tell you, they don't give a fuck about you. Your children, your grandparents, your parents, your cousins. Nobody. It's all money to them. Your money to them. Do some research on the hemophilia community in the 80s and 90s, in the 2000s, the very early 2000s, and look up something called HANDY, HANDY, all caps, period after each letter, through the hemophilia community. If you have questions about what the pharmaceutical companies will do, call them and ask them if they can send you the medical information on the hemophilia community that were dying of AIDS prior to the 80s. It was a bloodborne disease, and it was killing off the hemophiliacs prior to the gay-related disease, for real. They have all the studies. They have the path following back. So Ground Zero Man, he's not the one that got everybody infected. It was the pharmaceuticals, the pharmaceutical companies. And they did it on purpose, because if they wanted the drag of the hemophilia community that burdened the world, cost money, how much more so would a whole nation want to F off men that are gay? Think about that for a minute. Think about it really long and hard. Don't trust your government. Don't trust the pharmaceutical companies. You will inadvertently be killing yourself. If the pandemic didn't show you that, with the problems that came out of that untested vaccine, I don't know what else I can say to you, those that trust your government and trust the pharmaceutical companies to make sure you're good. Neither one of them have been created to make sure you're good. They've been created to make sure they are good. They will not watch out for you. They will harm you. They will watch you die, feeling they are better off for it. There will always be sickness, death, and life. They're not going to lose money, and they know it. There will always be gay men around. This is life. Love is love. The pharmaceutical companies don't act in love. Your government does not act in love to you. If you are marginalized, not seen, they will take your bitch ass out and laugh about it behind closed doors. How dumb were we? Because we didn't believe our eyes. Believe your eyes. Stop listening to people. Research some shit. Your government is killing you. See, the thing is the government knew what was going on as well. Don't be a fool. It'll only harm you. Y'all have a good day. Dale, I love the motherfucking shit out of you, dude. Peace and light to you always. You're never forgotten. Have a good day.